3 Israeli hostages in exchange for 183 Palestinian prisoners. That was the deal for the fifth exchange between Hamas and Israel after the truce in Gaza. Prime Minister Netanyahu announces reprisals for the serious condition, he has said, of the freed hostages. Good afternoon, El Mudina Ariz to Jerusalem. Yes, good afternoon. Netanyahu, in fact, has announced that he is going to take measures against Ever, without specifying which ones. Due to the state of the freed hostages, today they have been seen very thin, emaciated, of course, apparently in worse conditions than hostages who were released days ago. This has caused concern and outrage, especially among the relatives of the hostages who remain in Gaza. There are more than 70 of them, although it is believed that some would have already died. We are going to remember the names of the hostages who have been released today. 34-year-old Orlevi was kidnapped along with his partner at the Nova Festival. Her partner was murdered. Oyal Benem is also 56 years old. His wife was kidnapped, but released a few months ago. And he and Sarabi, he's 53 years old. His wife and 2 daughters were murdered by Never. Israel, as you were saying, has also fulfilled its part of the bargain under this existing ceasefire agreement and has released 183 Palestinian prisoners. Some, upon release, have reported that they have suffered torture and ill treatment in Israeli prisons, and 7 of them have been hospitalized. No surprises in the fifth exchange of hostages and prisoners between Israel and Ever in Gaza. Celebrations in this square of Deir el-Balah under the strict control of the militiamen. Again, this image, signature of the agreement with the Red Cross, and greetings from the newly freed. As a novelty, they said a few words today. I call for all phases of the ceasefire agreement to be implemented, 56-year-old Ohad Ben Ami has said. To him and Sharabi, 52, he never asks, "Do you know that your brother was killed during the Israeli offensive?" I know, he replied, and I'm sorry that he can't be here with me today. In Israel, family and friends followed the liberation live, as did thousands of citizens. Netanyahu has assured that he will take measures in view of the serious state, he has said, in which the freed people are. The Red Crescent has denounced the poor state of health, it said, of some of the Palestinian prisoners released today. At least 7 have been taken to hospitals. In total, 183 have been released from the Israeli prison Ofer. Among them, there are more than 100 who were arrested after the attacks of October 7th. 20 will return to Gaza. From there, they have never sent a message to Trump. We will stay in Gaza, says this militiaman, until we shed the last drop of blood if necessary. A message that comes after the US president proposed this week to take control of the Strip and expel the Gazans, to turn it into the Riviera of the Middle East. Donald Trump has announced a new multi-million-dollar arms sales package to Israel, and meanwhile, here in Madrid, some of his European political allies have put him as a great reference at the Patriots Summit. It is the group chaired by Santiago Abascal and includes the leaders of part of the European far-right. The closing ceremony was attended by Salvini, Le Pen, and Orban. At this meeting, there have been strong criticisms in the current European Union.
Everyone has congratulated themselves on Trump's victory, a preview of what is going to happen in Europe. Abascal, Le Pen, Orban, all have launched harsh criticisms of Brussels. They have called for less European Union and more sovereignty back for the member states. It also defends the existence of only 2 genders, male and female. All of them are leaders of Patriots, one of the 2 far-right groups in the European Parliament, and currently chaired by Santiago Abascal. That is why he welcomes you here in Madrid, and he does it with a party still touched by the departure of Garc Gallardo, the first vice president that Vox had in an autonomous government.
Meeting in Madrid of the leaders of the European far-right. Patriots is already the largest far-right group in the European Parliament. Its president, Santiago Abascal.
Sanchez, with Maduro and with Never. He met with von der Leyen. We, together with all of you, with the future of Europe and with the future of the world.
In his speech, the criticisms of the European Union were echoed.
There are others who are lackeys of Brussels. The big tariff is the Green Deal and the confiscatory taxes from Brussels and socialist governments all over Europe.
And he has not been the only one. The rest of the speakers have also launched tough speeches against immigration, with the Italian Salvini bragging about having prevented the disembarkation of migrants.
He has won the right to defend the borders from the invasion that we have won.
And against diversity. In several speeches, far-right leaders have also used Donald Trump as an example.
In Bascule,
"We are facing a real-world turn," said the Frenchwoman Marine Le Pen, if Patriots adds its MEPs to those of the other two far-right groups in the European Parliament. They represent almost a third of the seats. In the most vulnerable neighborhoods of Ecuador, where there are no opportunities, minors are in the crosshairs of gangs. They are recruited to commit crimes and even to kill.
they form it and have a structure of boys who carry out hitman activity at their orders.
Some are caught with the complicity of their parents who have no resources.
When the family receives $500, the first thing they do is withdraw those $500. They leave about $5 for the boy to be content, and the rest is used by the family.
In the quieter cantons, Ecuadorian teenagers are also potential victims of violence just by taking to the streets.
With my dad, we were in the car, and we saw a man who was with a gun in a car, and from there we had to leave.
They are also exposed to theft or extortion. That is why more and more schools are incorporating protection programs for students, but also for their parents. Crime on the streets often generates concern, even among the youngest. At school, they help them deal with these fears and teach them safety protocols. Ecuadorians return to the polls this Sunday with the challenge of putting an end to organized crime.
Hundreds of people visit the murals of the Bauxite Quarter, the biggest tourist attraction in the northern Irish city of Derry. Every day, seen in 1972 of the Bloody Sunday Massacre.
People are very interested in our history because now we live in peace. We have learned a lot, and a lot of people come here to learn and know how we did it.
Brona Ma's Olive works at the Ulster University Library and as a tour guide. Its circuit through the murals of the Bauxite neighborhood.
Well,
This is the first one that was made.
this is the first mural that the Bauxite artists painted, and it was for the 25th anniversary of Bloody Sunday.
In the midst of that armed conflict that claimed the lives of more than 3,500 people, Brona emigrated to Spain in search of a better life. But he decided to return to his country after the Good Friday Agreement of the 98th.
There are still several only Catholics and only Protestants, but there are many very mixed neighborhoods and nothing happens. Everyone wants to live in peace and move on. No one wants to go back.
However, and despite the fact that more than 25 years have passed since the peace was officially signed, many more must still pass, until the wounds of that time are definitively closed. No one wants to miss the Goya Gala in Granada today. Sofa.
And to watch the gala.
And to see her.
Today, I have free at work to see if we see.
The city breathes cinema, and their hotels have been filled up for the occasion. The proximity of the hotel, with the site where the event is to be held, at the Congress Palace, it obviously affects our establishments. And in the downtown restaurants this noon, it was difficult to find a free table. We have reservations, but besides that, well, I think the whole of Granada is going to benefit. But not everyone is happy. Driving around the city is quite difficult this afternoon, yes. In addition, there have been protests like these painted these days. To photographic exhibitions on the street with images named and awarded in different editions of the awards. I did not remember this morning that the movie stars are already in Granada.